Kasich, it didn't turn out so well. Congratulations. Okay, wait till next year. But I can tell you, thanks for coming. Do you have class today, or? Okay, and I want you to know that it's nice that you would all come here, but I'm not giving out free college, okay? I love having the students here, and I know you'll have a lot of questions, maybe some tough ones, and that's fine. But I just want to take a few seconds and say a couple things to you. I grew up in a little town, a little blue-collar town outside of Pittsburgh, and it was called Peach Rocks. My father carried mail on his back, and his father was a coal miner. He had worked in a mine for many years, and when he would come up with the load that he had dug all day, they'd say, "You got too much peat and not enough coal," and they'd cut his pay in half. And he went from, and he didn't enjoy that, obviously. And he ended up dying of black lung, and as he was getting older, he was losing his eyesight from being down in that mine. And my mother's mother was from Yugoslavia, could barely speak English. So the town that I grew up in, everybody there, basically all Democrats, blue collar, God-fearing, show respect, simple, common sense, that things are not that complicated in life. And if the wind blew the wrong way, people found themselves out of work. And it was a town where you just knew people didn't have much power. We were all Steeler fans, but we didn't get tickets for the Steelers game. Nobody knew anybody. And we were Pirates fans. And when we would go to the game, my father would take me on Labor Day. Why do you think we went on Labor Day? Tickets were like $1 a piece. Why do you think? Who would tell me why we went on Labor Day?
Double header.
Thank you, double header. The price of one. That's the way it was. And nobody in my town thought much of the politicians, to be honest with you. In fact, when I went to my high school reunion, when I got to be a congressman, one of the guys walked up to me and said, "John, I understand you're a congressman." I'm like, "Yeah, I am." He looks at me and said, "I voted for you to be one of the most likely to succeed. What happened?" So anyway, I left that town keeping in mind that people like that usually didn't have a voice. Somebody had to give them one. You don't need to be disliking the establishment, but you're never going to be part of it. And you don't want to be anti-establishment because that doesn't get you anywhere. So, bring about change all the time. And so I went over to Ohio State, and how many students go to Michigan State? Is it? No, how many? Okay, let me see. 1, 2, 3, 5. Oh no, 6. What is it? 40,000? How many? 48,000 on this campus. So very similar to my school. And I lived in a dormitory. I had 15 college roommates, and I was there a real short period of time, and I got frustrated because I don't like anything big. I don't like big labor, big business, big government, because it just traps me. I don't like people telling me what to do or putting their thumb on me. So I got upset, and I wasn't getting anywhere, so I asked for a meeting with the president of the university, and of course they wouldn't let me in. And I asked them about 10 times, and finally the lady said, "Come in tomorrow." So I put on my best blue jean shirt and put my hair up under my hat and went in to see the president. And I lodged my complaint, and I looked at him and I said, "Sir, I've been in school about a month, and I'm undecided here at Ohio State, but these rugs, the furniture, the lighting, wow, this is great. Maybe this is the job for me. What do you do in your job as president?" He said, "Well, I do a little academic stuff and fundraising, and tomorrow I'm going to go down and have a meeting with President Nixon because I've been friendly with him over the years." And I said, "Well, sir, there's a number of things that I would like to talk to him about also. Do you think I can go with you?" And he said, "No." And I said, "Well, if I go back to my dorm, and I write a letter, would you carry it to him?" And he said, "Well, yeah, I guess I could do that." Lesson number 1. Keep going until somebody tells you no, okay? So I went back and I wrote a letter to the president, basically inviting myself to the White House, and I signed it sincerely, John Kasich, P.S. if you would like to discuss this further, I'm a college student and we got nothing but time, so let me know if I can come. So a couple of weeks later, I go down to my mailbox, and there's a letter from the White House, the Office of the President. And I open it up, go upstairs, I call home, and my mother answers the phone. And I said, Mom, I'm going to need an airline ticket. The President of the United States would like to have a meeting with me in the Oval Office. And my mother is shouting, honey, pick up the phone. There's something really wrong with Johnny. It's true. So they got me an airline ticket. I flew down. My parents didn't know what to make of any of this. And I go in through the White House security, and I'm an 18-year-old first-quarter freshman. And I'm sitting right outside the Oval Office, and this guy comes up to me, and he says, you're going to get 5 minutes alone with the President of the United States. What do you think? Does that sound exciting to you? What do you think? Yeah, unbelievable. Let me tell you what I'm thinking. New jacket, new shirt, new tie, new pants. I didn't come here for 5,000 minutes. And they opened up the door, and I walked in, and I greeted the President. He greeted me, and we sat at his desk. And the good news is I spent 20 minutes as a first-quarter freshman at the age of 18 with the President of the United States. 20 minutes in that Oval Office with him. The bad news, I spent 18 years in Congress, and if you add up all the time I spent in the Oval Office, I peaked out at the age of 18. That's a true story. What do you think, Connie? That story is... that story is about you. That story is really not about me. Do you understand what I mean? That's about you. That's about your life. That's about your hopes. That's about your dreams. That's about nobody ever telling you what you cannot do. Never, ever let somebody tell you what it is you cannot do, because it can create doubts. We've got one life, at least this time around, one life, and we got to go with the gusto. And I know we're here at this school, and I want to tell you a couple things. Let's just think about that story, because I don't understand it myself. So I bullied my way in because when people said, you don't have the experience, you're going to hear that, right? Oh, really? Better let me in the door. Or you can't do that, which you hear from those who love you the most. Am I right? You can't. Am I right about that? Huh? Why are you shaking your head? Did somebody tell you what you couldn't do? Huh? You know what? Who cares what they tell you? You do what you believe in. And get people around you who are going to be people who are going to encourage you and tell you what you can be, not what you cannot. Now, I'm going to tell you another thing, and some of you won't like it. That's okay. But I'm going to give you the best present I can give you. I happen to believe that we were all of us, created special. I believe that the Lord, the ruler of the universe, made us special. I want you to think about this, because this is a gift. Some have never thought about this. And because you're made special for a purpose. You're not to obscure that purpose. You're not to become, go to the party and after the second and third drink we start taking OxyContin. No, that's not. You weren't made to do that. You were made to heal the world. And I don't care whether, it doesn't matter to me in the least whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, an independent, a Martian. It means nothing to me. Because I don't care about that with you. What I care about with you is to realize that you were made special to change this world. And changing this world by healing this world. We all want to go show up at a thing like this and, okay, this guy's running for president. By the way, before I went to New Hampshire, we could have had the meeting in a phone booth, okay? So that just tells you the way the world works. Don't take it too seriously. I'm all honored that you would come here. And by the way, I know I finished second in New Hampshire, but I did beat Donald Trump up in a little town in the northern part of New Hampshire. By 60%. Don't tell anybody it was 3-2. That's a detail, okay? But I want to go back to this for a second because, you see, I think that we're all part of a mosaic. Isn't that a beautiful word, a mosaic? Because that's what I think we are. And we're here at a point in time to do something special. And we come here, like I was saying, that some guys running for president. You realize that this world is not going to spin differently, frankly, at the end, only because of the president. Can a president do things? Yeah. But I'm talking to you back in the Keys Rocks. Our hero was Roberto Clemente, the great baseball player. We had presidents, but president, yeah, okay. But what about Roberto? Is he playing tonight? Because he was the example of excellence where I came from. He was humble. He was talented. He played through injuries. And then one morning, my mother, the very few times I saw my mother cry, came into my bedroom, and she said, "Johnny, today's a sad day. Roberto Clemente was killed in a plane crash trying to go and help earthquake victims in Managua, Nicaragua." You see, our country needs a revived spirit. We don't get the revived spirit only with the president. Can a president inspire? I guess, yes. I think that's true. Because I met, presidents when I was just a kid, and Reagan did inspire me. And I was at Ohio State when he showed up there one day, and it was like a mob scene. The students, they just couldn't get close enough to him, of all parties. Why? Because I think he just stood for something. He believed in an ideal that was significant. And our ideal as human beings ought to be to live a life a little bit greater than ourselves. So a couple tips. Never take never for an answer. Tell the people who don't support you that you're going to show them what you can do. Gather people around you who believe in you. But in whatever you're going to do in life, remember you need to be part of changing the world and helping somebody else to get up, get them up on their feet. That's our job as human beings. And it will always be appreciated. One of the greatest stories in the Scripture is the story of the Good Samaritan. Everybody else passed this guy laying in the street. He was probably nothing more than a homeless guy living here in Lansing, living under a bridge, pushing a goddamn shopping cart with all his earthly possessions in it. And somebody stopped and helped him. And the Good Samaritan has traveled all the way through time. All the way through time. Why? Living a life bigger than himself. We don't even know his name, but we know who he is. And we know what he did. And we have to think about that. As for me, in this business, I'm just sort of putting one foot in front of the other. I didn't think I was going to be running for president. I thought, I kind of got my second term as governor, kind of finish it out, go into the private sector. The next thing you know, I'm standing here in front of 600 people in East Lansing, okay? My job is to help you to find your purpose through the effort of work. If we don't work, we're made to work. All of us are. And you've got a lot of hopes and dreams about working, but I got to tell you, if there's no jobs, it's pretty hard to get a job. If the economy is anemic and poor, it isn't going to happen. And I've been involved. Look, I was in Washington. As Pete Hoekstra mentioned, I was there when we worked together, fought for many years to get ourselves to a balanced budget. Why? I don't care about numbers. But we all knew that if we could get some control of the spending, it would give the job creators an incentive to do something. If we not only balance the budget, but we cut the risk-taking tax, the capital gains tax, and this economy was booming like crazy, we paid down 4 years, we had 4 straight years of a balanced budget and paid down $500 billion in the national debt, and it inspired confidence in people who either expand jobs or who create jobs, and it gave young people like you who are entrepreneurial. You don't have to work for somebody else in your lifetime. Oh, it's not easy, but you don't have to work for it. You create your own stuff. But in an environment that is a killer of jobs, it simply doesn't work. And I'm not here to, you'll never hear me really talk about any other candidate or any other philosophy. But what I can tell you is as government grows bigger, there's less opportunity for all of us if you're like me, the son of a mailman, or the daughter of a mailman, if you know what I mean by that. People that have to climb up the pole. And so there's a couple things we need to do in this country. We got to transfer a lot of power out of that town. Now, let me see if I can. Give me that. Give me that. Okay. Nice phone. 4 or 5. A 6. Why are you even in school? You were born with a silver spoon in your mouth. I mean, you got a 6. So here's the situation. See this? Well, when my kids were about 11 years old, we were in Naples, Florida. And my daughter said, "Daddy, what is that thing over there?" I said, "Oh, that box over there." "Oh," I said, "okay." Well, I said, "That's where Superman changed his clothes." And you know, there's even some young enough that don't even know how Superman changed his clothes. Do you know where he changed his clothes? Let me go to the old man. All right, where did he change? Governor, I have no clue. In the phone booth. Thank you. In the phone booth. Wow. What are they teaching at this school? Boring things like physics and nothing about Superman? So I said, "Girls, that's where Superman changes his clothes, and that's where your mom and dad used to put coins in the phone booth there to make the phone work." And they're like, "Really?" It's fast, isn't it? The constantly connected consumer, as a man once described to me years ago what it was going to be like. Transportation, I don't know if, now we're really learning that if you live in an urban area, you don't need a car anymore. I noticed yesterday in the paper, I was reading about Ford and all their exciting new ways of looking at transportation, because it's changing. Medicine is changing. And it's going to be all personalized medicine in the blink of an eye. Not just transportation, communication, shopping, everything. We're not going to have to go home to turn our lights on. We can do that now. We'll just use a computer. It's just amazing what's happening. But there's one thing that doesn't change, and that is the big government. Now, I got to tell you, the big government doesn't change because there's many forces of special interest that say we like it just like it is. But that does not lead to innovation. You must innovate or you die. If you don't change and change quickly, you die. That's why Fortune 500 companies, they're at the top of the ocean, and next thing you know, they're dead at the bottom. If you don't change and innovate, it doesn't work. And by the way, I get more phones this way. Thank you very much. So what we need to do with the government is break it down into smaller pieces. And I'll give you an example of really I'll talk about a couple things. Look at the VA. Do you realize how bad that operation is? And it's so big because it's so big. It's so bad because it's so big. It's not servicing the very people that put their lives on the line. You come back from the military, you got a physical illness. You call there, you're on hold for 45 minutes and then they still don't talk to you. Then they hang up the phone on you. It doesn't work that way. It's too big and unwieldy. Even inside of our Department of Defense, we have almost 800,000 people who perform bureaucratic functions. That's why some weapon systems have taken as long as 22 years to deploy when it used to take 6 or 7. It's so big. So we got to get government smaller.